I found a hidden room in my new house. It was filled with strange things. I was trying to organize some boxes and figure out what I was going to do with some old furniture I'd inherited from my granny. So, I recently moved into a new house in a quiet neighborhood. The place is a bit old, but it has so much charm. I love the creaky floorboards, the high ceilings, and the big windows that let in tons of light. It's perfect, honestly. I was excited to move in and start fresh. However, on the first weekend after the move, something strange happened. I was in the attic, trying to organize some boxes and figure out what I was going to do with some old furniture I'd inherited from my grandmother. I've been cleaning the attic for hours, and just when I thought I was done, I noticed something odd. There was a section of the wall that seemed slightly different from the rest. It wasn't that it looked damaged, but there was an unusual seam, almost like a door. I wasn't sure if it was my imagination or if it had always been there, but the more I looked at it, the more it seemed out of place. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to investigate. I pushed against a wall, and to my surprise, it gave way. It wasn't a wall at all. There was a hidden door behind it. I opened it slowly and stepped inside. What I found was a small, dimly lit room. The air was musty, and there was a thick layer of dust on the floor. But the strange thing was, the room was full of stuff. Old furniture, boxes, and random objects were scattered around. At first glance, it didn't seem that unusual, just more old junk. But there were some things that caught my eye. There was an antique rocking chair in one corner, but the weird part was that it was facing the wall. I also noticed a set of old porcelain dolls sitting on a shelf, their eyes wide open. And then there was the painting, an old, dusty oil painting of a woman standing in front of a large, grand house. The thing was, I could have sworn the house in the painting looked exactly like my own house, only it seemed different somehow. It had a more eerie and dilapidated feel to it. I didn't feel scared, but something felt off. It was like I had stumbled into someone's forgotten space, and they hadn't wanted anyone to find it. I'm not sure what to do. I haven't told anyone about it yet, and I don't even know if I should. Should I leave it alone and pretend I never saw it? Or should I try to figure out why this room exists and who put all this stuff in it? Has anyone ever experienced something like this? What should I do next? First update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the responses. I've been reading through all your advice and suggestions, and I appreciate the support. I've decided to go back into the room and try to figure out more about it. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something important I needed to uncover. So, earlier today, I gathered my courage and went back up to the attic. This time, I brought a flashlight and some gloves, just in case. The door to the hidden room opened as easily as before, and I stepped inside again. I noticed something new this time that I didn't catch on my first visit. There was a large, dusty book on a small wooden table in the center of the room. It wasn't a journal or a novel, though. It looked more like an old ledger or diary. It was leather-bound and looked ancient. I felt compelled to open it. As I flipped through the pages, I noticed it was filled with strange notes, like handwritten instructions or sketches. The writing was hard to read, and some of it was in a language I didn't recognize. There were drawings of symbols that I've never seen before, along with diagrams of houses, some similar to mine, others completely different. One page stood out the most. It had a sketch of a man, an older man, with a long beard and a small note underneath. It was written in a rough, slanted script that looked almost like a warning. The house is not what it seems. The walls hide the truth. Be careful of the room beneath. I stared at that page for a long time, trying to make sense of it. But the more I looked, the more it started to freak me out. I thought maybe it was just some weird, old thing someone left behind. But then I remembered the painting. The one of the woman standing in front of the house. The house was different in the painting, and now that I was reading this note, it felt like everything was connected. I started to wonder, could there be a room beneath the one I was standing in? And what did that mean? The house is not what it seems. Could my house have a dark secret? I mean, it's just an old house, right? Nothing to be afraid of. I decided to take a few pictures of the book and the symbols, hoping someone might recognize them or offer more insight. Then I put everything back where I found it, closed the door to the hidden room, and tried to shake off the feeling of unease that had settled in my chest. But I can't stop thinking about it. I'm still not sure if I should tell anyone about this. I feel like I'm either going crazy or about to uncover something really strange. Has anyone ever heard of a house hiding something like this? I really don't know what to do next. Second update. I was really torn about what to do next. I didn't want to seem paranoid or like I was overreacting, but the more I thought about the strange room, the more I felt like I had to get to the bottom of it. The whole thing had started to feel less like curiosity and more like something I couldn't ignore. After the last update, I decided to reach out to a local historian. I found a woman who specialized in the history of old houses in the area and was well known for helping people figure out strange things that came up in their homes. I didn't go into the specifics about the hidden room. I just told her I was curious about the house's history and if there was anything unusual I should know about. To my surprise, she was more than interested. I think it was the mention of the old house that got her intrigued. She agreed to come over and take a look at some of the documents I'd found in the hidden room, especially the sketchbook with all the symbols and the note. She arrived yesterday. She's in her late 50s, has short gray hair, and was incredibly friendly, but there was a certain intensity in her eyes when I showed her the book. She immediately recognized some of the symbols. She told me they were from an old local legend, a kind of folklore that had been passed down for generations but was mostly forgotten. Apparently, there was a rumor many years ago about a secret society that once lived in the area, but no one really knew much about it. The society supposedly had knowledge of strange rituals and believed that certain houses had hidden rooms where people could hide away from the world, or from something worse. She didn't say it outright, but her expression told me that she believed there was more to my house than just an old structure. She said the society's members were often associated with great wealth and power, and some people thought that the hidden rooms in their houses were linked to, well, something else. She wouldn't elaborate more on that. After going through the book and photos, she asked if I had noticed anything strange in the house recently. I mentioned the rocking chair in the hidden room and how it was positioned facing the wall. She seemed to take a deep breath when I said that. She told me that it wasn't just a coincidence and that many of the members of the society practiced things like meditation and spiritual rituals in secret rooms. The rocking chair was likely used for some sort of focus. It wasn't meant to be used in the way you might think, but rather as part of a larger ritual. I was starting to get uncomfortable. She suggested we go back to the hidden room to see if there was anything else we could uncover. When we got there, she spent a long time examining the room, taking measurements, inspecting the walls, and even feeling the floorboards. I felt like I was being dragged deeper into something I didn't fully understand. I kept trying to reassure myself that it was probably just a weird coincidence, that the old history and the strange symbols didn't mean anything more than a quirky part of the house's past. But then she found something. Behind one of the walls in the room, there was another seam, just like the one I had found originally. She pressed on it, and to my shock, it opened. I swear, I felt my heart stop for a second. I didn't want to know what was behind it, but there it was. Another small room. This one was even darker, colder, and smelled like mildew. There was a strange, faint hum in the air, almost like an electrical charge. I saw it before I could even really process the room. In the center, on the floor, was a large, intricate symbol burned into the wood. It looked like it had been scorched into the floor with great care and precision. It wasn't something anyone could have just casually done. It was purposeful. The historian looked at the symbol and immediately said, This is a sigil. A binding sigil. It's designed to keep something contained. I couldn't breathe. What had I stumbled into? Why was this in my house? She asked me if I had felt anything strange recently, any odd feelings or dreams. I told her I had, but I had just assumed it was stress from the move and everything going on in my life. She looked at me gravely and told me that I should leave the house for a while, that the house wasn't just hiding things in the walls. It was keeping them locked away. I'm terrified. I've stayed with a friend for the last couple of days while I figure out what to do next. The historian said I should seriously consider getting the house checked out by someone who specializes in, well, this kind of thing. But I don't even know what that means. Is my house cursed? Am I overthinking this? I'm scared to go back there. I'm scared that there's more to this that I can't even understand yet. Has anyone dealt with something like this? I don't know how to move forward.